We've got our first new depth added to this Red Sox system. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Just a heads up before we get into this video, though, we are going to be live right here on this channel. No actual free agent news to talk about just yet, but we are getting closer to free agency, which means we are going to be previewing what it could potentially look like for the Boston Red Sox. A whole lot of fun things to talk about tonight, so make sure you guys are there again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on this channel. And I guess, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first Red Sox signing video of 2026, right? Right now, the Red Sox can't really do too much. They're limited by the fact that the World Series is still going on and that you can't really sign free agents outside of your own organization until 5 days after the World Series. The only thing the Red Sox can do right now is sign minor league depth, and lucky for us, they are actually taking advantage of this. No, it's not penny pinching or dumpster diving, it's simply just taking advantage of this opportunity, and the Red Sox have signed 2 players that they are going to be adding to the depth of this Red Sox team, and both these guys are interesting for different reasons. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to break down the, first 2 players the Red Sox have inked a contract with for this 2026 offseason, starting with a guy that the Red Sox re-signed recently, because according to Alex Spear of the Boston Globe, the Red Sox have re-signed left-handed pitcher Eduardo Rivera, again, to the only thing they could do right now, which is a minor league deal. And on the surface, this makes all the sense in the world for the Red Sox, because if you look at what Rivera did this season, it feels like a no-brainer the Red Sox would want him back in this organization. Through 2 levels this season, the 22-year-old who spent time at both the AA and high A level had just a 2.48 ERA over 87 innings with a 3.22 FIP, so a bit higher, but nothing crazy concerning there. He was striking out 11.17 batters per 9 inning, which is a really nice number, missing a ton of bats this year, which is fantastic. On top of that, though, which I really love in combination here, is that he was keeping the ball on the ground. In fact, he was generating ground balls over half the percent of the time that he was on the mound at 54.5%. A guy who misses bats and generates a ton of ground balls is always an intriguing combination when we're talking about pitching prospects. Now, I will say he is a little bit up there when it comes to his walk rate, right? Not exactly the best command in the entire world, but these 2 combinations alone make him an intriguing pitcher, and to me, make him an absolute no-brainer as to why the Red Sox would sit there and say, all right, you're a minor league free agent. Are we going to let you walk, or are we going to bring you back, right? If you're putting up a sub-3 ERA, you're striking out over 10 guys per 9 innings, and basically every other time a player is making contact against you, it's on the ground. Feels like a really great person to have in the Red Sox system, especially if you're a 22-year-old from the left-hand side. But as much as the guy himself is relatively intriguing, what comes next after they've re-signed him may be just as intriguing. Because according to Alex Spear, even though the Red Sox did re-sign this guy, he's still going to be eligible for the Rule 5 draft, which means in December, every other team in Major League Baseball is going to have the opportunity to take this guy from the Red Sox and put him on their 26-man roster, which creates a very interesting decision for this Red Sox team, right? Because what that means is the Red Sox essentially have until the day they sign this guy, until the start of the Rule 5 draft, to put him on this 40-man roster, which could be an indication that the Red Sox really want this guy to perform at the Major League level this year, right? If you were sitting there and saying, we're just going to let him walk during this Rule 5 draft, which he should be a pretty appealing player in, right? He's young, he's got some great attributes that we were just talking about, he's a pitcher from the left-hand side, which is always something teams can use. So for the fact that the Red Sox re-signed this guy has me believing that they at least to some degree believe in this guy's talent, right? But it's not going to be easy to put this guy on the 40-man roster. I mean, I didn't even look too deep into the depth chart the Red Sox have right now in their bullpen, but off the top of your head, I mean, I could think of 10, 12, 15 guys that could be intriguing arms for the Red Sox in terms of pitchers at the Major League level, right? So either the Red Sox are going to have to make a tough decision here and bump someone off this 40-man roster, roster in order to get Rivera onto it, or they take their chances on the Rule 5 draft, and potentially this ends up being a name that we never hear of again, at least for this Red Sox team. The other thing here that could be a bit intriguing about this signing is that you have a third option, and the third option right now is that between now and the Rule 5 draft, the Red Sox end up trading this guy. Now, it doesn't change his Rule 5 status, and the team that picks him up would still have to add him to their 40-man roster, but there could absolutely be some teams out there, again, looking at what Rivera did last season, that are sitting there saying, I wonder if there's a chance that we can skip this line, right? I wonder if there's a chance that we could pick up Eduardo Rivera before we get to the Rule 5 draft. And in that case, maybe the Red Sox utilize him to bolster another area of this team, right? To take a look at maybe some other depth the Red Sox could use throughout the rest of this organization. I think we're going to talk about an area of this team that could use a bit more depth than it has right now in just a second, right? So you got a couple of options here with Rivera, which is why, in my opinion, this is the guy to pay attention to in terms of these two players over the next couple of months, right? I think this is undoubtedly not going to be the last time we have a conversation about this guy Rivera, right? Because one, either we see him lost in a Rule 5 draft, or at least eligible for a Rule 5 draft. Two, we see him put on this 40-man roster with the prospect of him potentially impacting this team in 2026. Or three, we see his name in a trade that brings the Red Sox something else that they can utilize during the 2026 season. So to me, this is actually, if we're talking in terms of minor league signings, in terms of signings that, can't really impact the major league roster at this point, is incredibly intriguing, because it kind of feels like no matter what's going to end up happening here over these next couple of months, he is going to impact this major league team. Now, the other player that the Red Sox picked up over the last couple of days isn't a re-signing. It is a true new addition to this organization, and that is the fact that the Red Sox picked up Jason DeLay, a catcher, on a minor league deal, which is kind of a sweet baseball name, isn't it? I mean, Jason DeLay feels like he's a guy who's been catching at the big league level for 10 plus years now. In my opinion, though, this is a true, by definition, depth signing for the Boston Red Sox. He does have a bit of major league experience, that 31 years old. He played partial seasons with the Pittsburgh Pirates over a couple of years, equating to 134 games total. Not exactly a prolific bat here, slashing just .231 with a .295 on base percentage and a .350 slug during that time for a .610 OPS overall. Again, this guy's not winning any Silver Sluggers anytime soon, right? But I think defensively is where he becomes a bit of an interesting depth option. He's a really great framer behind the dish, excelled at it every single year he was at the major league level for any parts of it. Not exactly incredible anywhere else, but in 2024, he was pretty average at everything. I mean, the reason the Red Sox signed this guy is real simple. Let's take a look at what they have in terms of depth at the AAA level, right? It was essentially Brooks Bannon, and that's about it. Nathan Hickey could catch a little bit, but in minor league baseball, he was getting more first base DH reps than he was getting catcher depth. All the catchers that you had last year that you could have potentially used at the major league level, guys like Sebi Zavala, guys like Blake Sable, guys like Yasmani Grandal at some point, right? They all ended up as free agents this offseason, and you don't have them anymore. It's a very simple answer as to why the hell would the Red Sox sign this guy? He's terrible with the bat. It's because you don't have any other options in AAA, right? We've seen it a billion times if you're a Red Sox fan. Anything can happen at the major league level. You never know what you're going to need throughout a regular season, so having depth at every single position, especially a position as important as a catcher, is incredibly important for the Boston Red Sox, right? I mean, last year we saw Blake Sable get some innings at the big league level because of an injury to Carlos Narvaez. I mean, there was a time here last season where the Red Sox wanted as much catching depth as humanly possible that they had Ali Sanchez on their bench for no good reason for a large portion of this year, right? It's unbelievably key to have this sort of catching depth in the Red Sox system. So while this guy may not be incredibly intriguing, may not be a name that you're sitting there saying, boy, do I hope he gets some reps at the big league level this spring to earn himself a place on the big league roster, what happens if Carlos Narvaez goes down for a couple of months? Heaven forbid, right? Or even Connor Wong goes down for a couple of months. Again, heaven forbid. You're pretty far ways away from legitimately intriguing catching names like Johan Fran Garcia, Rivera or Jorge Rodriguez, right? These guys are so far away from Major League Baseball. He needs someone in the meantime. So any catching depth that you're going to sign over these next couple of months, to me, is incredibly important, not because of what it does to the Major League team, but how it creates this safety net that we've talked about for years on this channel, right? The goal of a good baseball team is to have this safety net because you're going to use it at some point during 162. If you can have guys that prevent total drop-offs in production in one area of a team by losing a star player like Carlos Narvaez, it's going to help this team continue to win baseball games, and ultimately that's obviously always the goal. So I don't hate this signing one bit, right? And I don't think this is going to be the last time I get behind this microphone and talk to you guys about some catching depth, because the Red Sox, they desperately need it. And again, maybe they turn a Rivera or one of these other Rule 5 eligible players into more catching depth like we talked about earlier in this video. So yeah, it's nothing to get super excited about, but I don't think this is anything to complain about either. Overall, again, I think the most exciting part to me about all of this is that, you're sort of starting to see, okay, now we can have a conversation about how guys are going to impact the Boston Red Sox, right? How close the Red Sox are to getting to a point where they can sign these bigger name free agents that are going to immediately impact this 26-man team, right? And I think the indication that that's right around the corner makes this an exciting video. These guys in their own rights probably don't. Right? I don't think, again, a lot of these names or either of these names are going to be players that we sit here and say, oh yeah, like this is going to be the difference between the Red Sox as a wild card team and the Red Sox as a division winner, right? But at the same time, too, I think you look at these guys individually, and again, Rivera is probably going to be a name that we talk about again at some point, whether he's on the Major League team or not. And then Jason DeLay, I think you sit there and you say, okay, yeah, he's not going to light the world on fire, but the goal here is to keep the Red Sox afloat if things go really poorly. And he has some Major League experience. He has some success behind the dish at the Major League level. Okay, right? We'll take what we get, and, we won't be upset at the least right now, right? Obviously, there's going to be times to be upset this offseason. I'm sure we will be upset at points this offseason, especially with the Boston Red Sox. Like, people tend to find ways to be upset about them, but for right now, I'm not really upset about anything, and I don't think you guys should be either. This isn't dumpster diving. This isn't penny pinching. This is just simply what a Major League team does when they are out of contention for the postseason and waiting for these bigger names to actually hit the free agent market. So let me know in your comment section down below, what do you guys think about it? I'm more curious to see what you think about Eduardo Rivera and how he's going to end up, but let me know what you think about Jason DeLay as well. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time for our live stream, and of course, as always, in the red seats.